Welcome, everyone, to the New Jersey Mycological Association's Tuesday night Taxonomy Tuesday session. My name is Lila. I am the host tonight, and this is a show and tell session where we take turns showing our finds, our fungal finds, typically of the past week, and you can do that from your device, or you can email them in and then I will try to share them with everyone. So beginners and experts alike are welcome. And if you know what it is, great. If you don't know what it is, we will try to help you figure out what you've found. So even our experts sometimes have items that they don't know what there are, what the name of it is. So we help each other and we learn from each other. So thank you for joining. Do we have anyone who would like to go first tonight?
I could go first. I have some stuff.
Super, Damon. And this is your first time, so welcome.
Yeah, it's quite the unique situation in my bedroom right now. I recently attended a mycology festival over the weekend, and the people on the forays were supposed to take the mushrooms, and not a lot of them did. So I have like the whole spread.
That's awesome.
But I don't know what to really do with them. So I was hoping to be able to get some advice.
Okay. So I guess there's lots of things that you can do with mushrooms.
Got some cordyceps.
Cool.
Neat.
Mead.
Neat.
Oh, meat. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
where was the foray at?
It was in Pennsylvania. I'm trying to remember the name. It was called Rodsmead. It was like a farmland area, but nearby there was a forest.
Nice.
I could get the exact name of the place in a moment. 1 second. It's called Roni Mead. Yeah, it's like 4 hours away.
Oh, so you were at MycoFest.
Yes,
MycoFest was at Runnymede, yeah.
Yeah, I was volunteering.
Cool. Very good.
Thank you.
All right. So, well, are there any mushrooms in your collection there that are of particular curiosity to you that you want to talk about?
Well, I'm curious to what this is right here. This one in my hand.
Okay.
It has this black because it was the foray. I didn't go on every single one. So
Mm-hmm.
there's ones I don't even know what they are
Oh,
because
yeah.
other people found them. So I have no idea what this is. And the main topic was truffles. And I think, not all truffles are worth much, but kind of looks like one a little bit.
A little bit. It's not a truffle. Does somebody else want to talk about that one?
I can. That's a pigskin puffball. It's Scleroderma is the genus. Sclera means hard, derma means skin, and it looks like a puffball, except it's got this rougher, harder, thicker skin, and then when you cut it open, it has like dark purple, blackish spores, whereas a real puffball would have white spores. And yeah, that's it. That's probably Scleroderma's citrina, and citrinum, and yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hunter, I'm going to have to correct you on one thing.
Sure.
A real puffball, which would be a species of Calvadia or Lycopardon, or there's a few others, doesn't have white spores. It has a white glebum,
Oh, right.
gleba. The inside of the immature fruit body is white.
Thank you.
Now, so the spores actually are usually, well, for some species, most species, they're like dark olive green, brown. Although
Yes.
there's one species in Calvadia for which the spores are purplish gray. But anyway,
Right. My
it's
bad.
a little bit misleading to advise that an edible puffball can be identified on the basis of a white interior, because Scleroderma species, which, as you have correctly pointed out, the person I just joined, so I didn't get the person's name, it turns black inside when it's mature, but an immature Scleroderma fruit body might possibly be completely white inside when it first pops, when it first comes out of the ground. Now, Scleroderma species are probably all poisonous. In particular, this one, which is very likely Scleroderma citrinum, as you suggested, and I agree, that's what it is, based on the raised warts covering the exterior, is called, the common name is the poison pigskin puffball. Poisonous.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah,
Should I be touching it?
also they sometimes call these earth balls to distinguish them from puffballs. Now, why are they not considered to be similar to truffles? It's because they grow above ground. Truffles grow
Oh, okay.
underground. So there's a few other species of Scleroderma that are very similar to this one, and they are probably all poisonous.
I wanted to add, you'll be able to tell, like, even with an immature one, if you cut it open and it is like creamy, as Dave said, as opposed to that dark black purple, you'll be able to see the skin line, the line between the outer skin and the gleba or interior, and it's much thicker in that species, at least, than like Calvacia or Lycoperdon, or these other true puffball species have a very thin skin. So that's another way, if it is a young specimen.
Yeah, Bovista species, which are true puffballs, it's a genus I forgot to mention, have fairly thick skin because they have like a double layer skin. But the main difference is that a true puffball that's immature and is white inside, you can pass a knife through it without having to apply a lot of force. And the interior is going to look sort of like cream cheese.
Marshmallowy.
Marshmallowy, that's a good way to describe it. And a Scleroderma earthball it's hard to pass a knife through the immature fruit body. It's very dense, thick. The flesh is very dense. The knife has to be pressed to get it to go through. Scleroderma species are generally found in the woods, in forests. I think they might be mycorrhizal. I'm not sure. I'd have to check with that, meaning that they associate with living trees. Puffballs are saprobic species that grow generally on lawns or in open areas.
Sometimes in the woods.
Sometimes, yeah, like Lycoperdon perlatum and well, it used to be Lycoperdon, now it's Apioperdon pyriform are forest species. You're correct.
We find Calvacia in the woods too.
Yes.
Okay, I suppose
Right.
that can be seen. I've never seen it. I've never seen Calvacia other than in fields or lawns or open areas.
Yeah, they can do it. I
Sure,
found quite a few that way, yeah.
Circling back to Hunter or to Damon's question about is it safe to touch, and you may have seen Brandon in the chat saying yes, completely safe to
Okay.
handle.
Yeah, because I already touched it like 3 times.
Yeah, like, even more seriously poisonous mushrooms are safe to handle.
The only type of mushroom that I know of that can cause a bit of a problem from merely handling would be some species of Suillus, which is a bolete, which is a soft-fleshed mushroom that has pores on the underside. And Suillus species generally grow under pine trees. The ones that are sticky or slimy capped, some people are allergic to the slime on the cap, and there have been reports of skin allergies associated with the handling of some species of Suillus. Other than that, if you handle a deadly poisonous Amanita, I would suggest, you just make sure you wash your hands afterward.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Touch drawer also. Usually of Asian descent.
Sorry, Sue, I didn't catch that.
Shiitakes are also create a dermatology effect for some people.
Okay, dermatitis, yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
And
They don't grow in the wild in North America, though.
David, if you could bring up the one you thought was cordyceps, I'm not so sure how familiar you are with the.
It looks like a cordyceps a little bit. I mean, it's not as orange. There's some orange ones in here.
Those are not cordyceps. Cordyceps, you really should dig down and find the insect. The ones that you are showing now are probably fusiformis.
Yeah, it's like, what's the genus for those? Is it Clavaria or Clavulinopsis? I always get these. Clavulinopsis. Clavulinopsis fusiformis is the yellow one, and then there's an orange one that's Clavulinopsis.
I think
who remembers the species?
I think I have a tray that does have a bug on it. I would just have to look because there's so many. But yeah, I could hold it up to the camera some more. That helps.
Yeah, that's the fusiformis. They could be yellow and can sometimes turn orangey when it gets older, at least the tips. But what field guide are you using? Do you have a field guide?
I haven't even looked at my field guides because I put these all out last night to dry. Again, like most of these I didn't even collect.
Yes.
So
By the way, if you dry wild mushrooms, you should use either a dehydrator, which you can get commercially purchased dehydrators, food dehydrators, or you can make one out of sheet metal and light bulbs, and it's a little bit of work. Or you can string things up in a south-facing attic window, where a room that gets hot and gets a lot of sun. Herbs are generally dried in shade. That's the recommendation, but not mushrooms. Mushrooms will get moldy if you don't dry them in an atmosphere that's where there's air circulating and heat generated.
yeah, there's some mold on this one.
I was going to ask if your reishi had mold on the underside because it's an old one.
So
I would not use that for anything.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do anything in terms of consumption. I was gonna make an art display with all this because it's so much. I mean,
well, even for an art display, if you're using a polypore, polypores are a good choice for art displays because they you can do things to them like lacquer them to preserve them, and they'll just remain looking the way you want them to for who knows how long. But once there's a lot of insect damage and decay, there's probably going to be more decay in time. So your art project will in time probably end up disappointing you. But if you get some nice fresh reishi, or even better, if you get a nice fresh artist conch, which is a polypore
Okay,
in
yeah.
the same genus, Ganoderma, you can sketch a nice drawing on the underside just by scratching it, and then you can like lacquer it, coat it with some sort of clear lacquer sort of stuff. And I don't know if Sue Hopkins is here tonight, but she works at, or she was working at the Adirondack Museum in northern New York, and there is a gigantic Ganoderma applanatum in the museum with a beautiful nature scene etched into it, and it's been on display for, as far as I know, for a very long time in the museum. But this one here, look, those holes are where insects bored into the thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
so
wondering what that was.
yeah, that's what that is. There's also looks like there's some mold on it as well.
Yeah.
This species is Ganoderma. I'm guessing you got this on hemlock wood. That bark looks like hemlock, and this species will start to fruit in late May. And usually, if you want to get really nice ones, you have to get them around mid-June or maybe late June.
Okay.
This mushroom here that you're holding probably came out in May, and now it's well past maturity, and it's been attacked by insects and mold and so forth.
So I should just compost this. Like, don't even use this.
That's what I would recommend.
Okay. Then it's well past spore collection,
I
or
I don't know. You might
removing
be able
like
to get some, you might be able to get some spores to fall out of it. Maybe,
how,
maybe not.
how would I do
Um,
that? Because there's like mold all over it.
oh yeah. Oh, that's a good question then. So you might get spores from the mold.
Oh, yeah, I don't want that.
Nah, you don't want that. You probably don't want to try to do anything with this over the hill reishi.
Okay. Yeah, definitely over there. All right. There's another one here that I don't know if this is a reishi, but it has no mold on it, as far as I can tell.
It's an even older reishi than the last one.
Yeah.
A lot of bug damage. So there is this insect that eats the reishi. It's called the pleasing beetle. I don't know the scientific name. Maybe somebody does. But it's a really showy beetle that's like orange and yellow and black. They look really cool when you see them, doing their thing on a reishi mushroom. But it looks like that's probably what happened to this one. Something bored into it. It was probably those guys. But that one's really pretty far gone. It's really dark. It's lost all of its luster. So you
Okay.
don't see the shiny upper surface.
Okay. And we're limited to 3 per showing, right? I mean, I have way more than 3.
Yeah, we'll circle back to you, Damon.
Okay.
We'll see how many everybody else has, but if you hang on, we can circle back to you later on. But that was great. I'm glad
Thank
to hear you were at the MycoFest, and clearly you've gotten the bug here. So,
Thank you.
all right, we'll move on to someone else.
It's Doug here. I wanted to comment on the shiitake dermatitis. I've seen it. It's only if you ingest the mushroom. You can't get it through skin absorption. It's a polysaccharide called lentinin, and it's destroyed by heating. So most people who get this flagellate whip-like rash, 2 to 3 day delay, it's after consuming undercooked shiitakes if they happen to be sensitive to it. And just a comment on what Dave said about Swillis. I've never seen it, but I've heard that definitely causes a delayed type hypersensitivity on contact in certain individuals with skin. whereas the amatoxins are cyclic peptides. They're about 6 to 8 amino acids, and you can't possibly absorb them through the skin. They're too large and they're too charged. So handling them, you don't really have to wash your hands right away, because you just can't, through intact skin, they cannot be absorbed. So I'll
Doug,
just
there
wanted to weigh
is
in.
one incident on record where some researchers were extracting toxins from Amanita phalloides,
Yes,
the death cap mushroom.
yes,
And so they were like extracting concentrated
yeah.
liquids with concentrated toxins, and they did get it on their hands, and some of them got sick. They didn't get,
That's
you know,
well,
fatally sick, but they got
yeah.
sick.
The other possibility there, Dave, is that it volatilized, and I can imagine if you breathe it, it could cross the very thin lung mucosa and get into your bloodstream. But intact skin, it skin won't absorb a cyclic peptide of that molecular weight. It really, intact skin won't absorb above about 600 uh, Daltons.
Yeah,
Even
there's more than one toxin in the section Phalloidae amanitas, the death caps and destroying angels. I don't
yes,
know the names of the toxins, but there's something that when someone eats a destroying angel or a death cap,
uh-huh.
they initially get sick, like GI distress. That's pretty bad. That goes away.
That's
And
that that's phalloidins, and they're also a cyclic peptide, and they bind and stabilize F-actin, and the GI cells are polarized, and you get all that gastric. You're absolutely right about that. The amanita toxin inhibits RNA synthesis, and it's much more delayed. But yeah, and maybe I should look into it, but maybe there's more toxins besides amatoxins and phalloidins in various species of Amanita. I think that's what you're saying. They're not characterized so well, huh?
it sounds like that's what I'm saying without knowing what I'm
Yeah,
saying. So
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
And one more question for you, Doug. Do you know if dehydrated shiitake are less likely to cause the reaction you described upon consumption?
Uh, I would doubt it because most polysaccharides, this, you know, like some sugars, if you dehydrate them and rehydrate them, they're soluble. And I would think that you would still get the reaction if you had dried shiitakes and then you hydrated them, and and a lot of the sugars are heat stable also. So uh, to an extent, but if you really boil them, you can denature them. But I would guess that you could get the reaction. I don't know. I know they sell a lot of dried shiitakes that come from China.
Thank you, Doug. So you should really make sure all your shiitake are well cooked.
Yes, yes.
Okay, we will revisit the toxicology issues maybe in a winter meeting when we don't have so many mushrooms to look at. I'm hoping we have a lot of mushrooms to look at. So I'm going to move us along to the next person. You can put your name in the chat if you want to get in the queue.
Peter has something.
Okay, Peter.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you all and participating in this great event that you have here. I've been walking around the woods for quite a many years and looking at stuff, of course, as a novice mycologist, mycophagus, and forager, whatever you want to call it. And so I ran across this. And can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, growth on a tree. And is it a gall? What is that? And I've been around trees a lot. And so, yeah, I picked it off, I smelt it, and it was sweet. And you look it up, and it's called Sweetknot. And there's some pictures out there online, of course. And it's kind of rare, which is kind of cool, I thought, because I've never seen it. And So it's called Sweetknot, Globifomes, and as we know, one of the genera of these type of mushrooms is fomies, like Fomitopsis, fomies, and Ganoderma, but it's Globifomes graveolens. And there are 4 or 5 of them on the tree, a maple tree, hardwood, and I just thought they were the cutest things. You show it to people and you say, "What is this?" And they're like, uh, I don't know. But if you get them just right, it will smell like sweet candy because when I picked it and put it in a car, my gal and I thought that maybe one of us stepped in some candy in the car. I was like, "What's that smell? What's that smell?" And sure enough, it was the mushroom. So it does have quite an odor, that pleasant odor. So
Wow,
next time you're out there and see something on a tree, it could be a virus, it could be a bacteria, it could be a fungi like this.
very cool.
Yeah, that's really interesting because that looks like an old one that probably fruited last year.
Yeah, it's done. It's mature. It's done its thing. Yeah, and it should last like this for a while, which it will on my windowsill. Yeah.
Was the tree dead, Peter?
No, it was not happy though. It was a 8-inch DBH maple, red maple that wasn't doing so well, and it had like 6 of these on it.
Okay.
And so it may have been hurting from this
Mhm.
fungus. Yeah. And this was found in New Jersey, Bergen County.
Super.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think we've seen it on Taxonomy Tuesday before, so
Okay, great. Well, thanks for sharing.
yeah. Somebody, oh, Damon's asking, does it have a culinary use? Does anybody know? Can it be like a,
I don't think so. It's kind of like hard as a rock, like some foamies or Ganodermas or yeah, but I wouldn't go there.
They used to use it as an air freshener. It's the potpourri. It's supposed to have like a potpourri smell, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, it worked for a couple weeks. The one we had, it was odoriferous, and then it went away. So again, what you just stated before, it looks like it fruited last year and it's dead now. So maybe the fresher ones will maybe give off a nice odor for a longer period of time and be nice for a potpourri in
What
our
tree was it growing on?
maple, red
Maple.
maple,
Okay, great.
Acer rubra. Uh-huh.
Could you
So I know it.
put the,
I know it. I know it spent time in Globifomes. Is it still Globifomes, or is it one of those
Oh, you
recently
know
that
what?
went?
I can't keep track. I'm more of a botanist than I am a mycologist, mycophagist, whatever. So in nomenclature for botany is just crazy.
Yeah.
So it goes
Well,
back and forth and then forth and then back.
yeah.
So it's,
I think it's probably spent time in both foamies and Globifomes, but a lot of those foamies and Fomitopsis adjacent things
yeah,
recently went back to Fomitopsis, like what is it, Niveoporifomes and things like that. I think this is one that kind of got lumped back into either foamies or Fomitopsis, but I could be
yeah.
wrong.
We're going to be doing this for years as splitters because if you look at an old calendar, I have some old calendars that calendars show old fungi, pictures of old fungi. Everything was either an agaricus or a boletus.
Right. Yeah.
And so, uh,
Now, Index fungorum still has it in Globifomes. However, on Mushroom Observer, a website that has many people who update taxonomic ranks and stuff like that. It is spelled as fomies,
mhm.
graveolens.
Uh-huh.
So it's back to fomies.
Whatever you want to call it, it's that. That's what it is.
It's like I'll come back in a second with a mushroom. Hey, honey, can you get at that mother mushroom in the driveway? It's just like this Berkeley's polypore, and I excuse myself for using the common name, but the common names are easier sometimes. So I can remember finding Berkeley's polypore in the Catskills, like, whoa, check that thing out. And it does have some lookalikes. But once you get to know them, obviously, folks, polypores that are big or certain colors, you know what they are. So I looked up the genus and species, and I always thought it was Polyporus giganteus. And then it was
Bondarzewia.
Yes. Now, if you want to spell that, right. And so I was like, okay, where am I going to go with this? Because there's a third name too. So I was like, okay, I don't know where to go. Maybe I'll just go with what I knew I had before, like Polyporus berkeleyi.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Man,
And
you
that was
grabbed the whole
that was
thing on
one of
that one.
3 in somebody's garden in Teaneck, New Jersey. And it's just like, yeah, I know what it is. And I sent a picture to my friend, and he said, a black staining polypore? I said, close. I said, close, because I've been fooled before. When
Beautiful.
they're juvenile, you pick something, you may even think it's Polyporus frondosus. And it's like you get fooled sometimes with this when it's young, I think, for some people, but no staining, but it's definitely Berkeley's. And I'm just going to go with Polyporus berkeleyi because I can't spell the other one.
Beautiful.
Yeah, great finds, Peter.
Okay, great.
I dropped in the chat a link, and some of the new people might not know about mushroomexpert.com, but you will soon will if you get into this at all. So I put the link into the Globifomes graveolens, the Sweetknot. Damon was wondering about the ecology of it. So Michael does touch upon that in his treatment of this particular species.
Thank you.
All right, and thanks for showing us that really great Berkeley's polypore. That'll be some artwork in your house for a while if it dries.
The Berkeley's?
Yeah,
No, I think I'll put it outside.
you gonna put outside? Okay.
Yeah.
Lawn art.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Peter?
Unless I look around. No, not right now.
Okay.
Do you like to eat the Berkeleys?
Yeah, supposedly a lot of these what grow into larger polypores, shelf-like things like that, tender when tender when young on the rims. You
Yeah,
can eat it.
that one's so big, it would probably not be good.
No, wouldn't touch it, right? But it's like dryad saddle. It's another common, not common, but fun to look at, dryad saddle. And that one, if you get it just right, you can do the margin, and supposedly it tastes like watermelon. And I have a friend who loves that, but I never really deal with it.
There are reports of people getting pretty sick on Berkeley's polypore.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, and
Oh, really?
and when it's really young, if you want to try, I mean, I tried it once a long time ago, and I thought it was actually pretty good.
Uh-huh.
The problem is when it's really young, it doesn't look anything like what it turns into.
Right.
It starts out, the fruit body starts out as just this sort of this glob, this vertically aligned glob of fungal material that is sort of formless, and then as it matures, it stretches out into these fronds, these semicircular fronds like yours is.
Uh-huh.
So it's very difficult to recognize actually when it's very young.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Dave, I found a very young one last year and it looked completely alien. It was like rounded curvature at the edges, and it was very interesting. But yeah, I found one last year also. I actually sliced off like the very edges of them and cut them into like a really thin chiffonade, and just with a little bit of rosemary and butter cooked them for a while. But because I cut them so thin, they were palatable. I just tried a little bit.
That's, yeah, if you do want to try that species, that's probably when you want to find it, when it's in that stage.
Yeah, I'll try to find the picture and post it in the chat.
I
So you
will
guys.
say that in closing, I did find yellow oyster a couple weeks ago. Are some of you familiar with that invasive plant? Fungi?
Yes.
Yeah. I saw amazing population of it.
Yeah, usually when it shows up, there's going to be a lot of it.
It's an interesting article in New York Times just appeared a couple weeks ago about that and how it's going to be competing with the native fungi.
Yeah.
I first saw it in Albany 4 years ago on a botanical walk, and yeah, in the woods, and it's like, what is that? That's pretty weird. Yeah, it looks like an oyster, but it looks like wrong color and a little bit more tender. And I now saw it in the wild, so to speak, in suburbia on a log, and there was pounds and pounds of it. and it
Mhm.
was nice to cook, eat, but I'm sorry to see that it's an invasive deal.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good. All right. Some interesting stuff here. Who's next?
I've got a few.
All right, Paul, go ahead. And then I see Christopher's got some. So let's go with you first, Paul.
Okay. Thank you, Lila. Let's see. There we go. Right. Whoa. Oh, there it goes. Let's see that way. Right, sharing. Just wanted to go through a few that I could use a little help with. I put this one in. I'm sorry. This is growing on pine, some rotted pine. I put this one in just as a guild mushroom. Someone came in behind me on iNaturalist and put a Tricholomopsis genus to it. Let me get to an underside here.
Rutilans.
Yeah, it looks like rutilans.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's another one also. There's something that looks like rutilans. It's the Latin in the name means yellow, I think. It has yellower gills than rutilans, I believe.
Sulfurous or
That's yet another one.
You got an excellent display in this photo, by the way.
Yeah, really
Thanks.
nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, good
Thanks.
job. You can see the
Thanks very
sides,
much.
the gills, the upper surface, the stem. Very
Yeah,
nice.
it's a good looking mushroom. They're obviously not going to be not very large. This was the most advanced one right here that I turned over. I was able to get some spores off of it. And they're about 5.5 by 3.5 in dimension. Anything else here? That's my dimensions. This here, which was, is this? I think this is it might be the Chilocystia. These features are much larger than any of the other features along the gill that I smashed on my slide there. But does anyone recognize that?
Yeah, that could be Chilocystia. They would be on the gill edge. I'm going to check
Yeah.
Mycoquebec and see what they say about Tricholomopsis rutilans, and also mushroom experts. So I'll come back in a few minutes. But you got
Yeah,
some
I
nice
think-
microscopy there to go on. So
and I think even just the the color of the cap, having that red, right? It's not decorosa.
Right, Decora. Yeah, isn't there one called Flammula?
Yeah, or flammula, which would be kind of an all yellow thing. I
oh,
think.
that's the one. That's the species I couldn't think of. Flammula.
Okay, maybe
Right.
that's more. Okay, okay. I thought the I'm sorry, is it Nigilans or Ritalins? I thought those were larger.
I think it's rutilans, but it could be
Okay.
nigilans. I get these things confused.
Me too. I've got this one. I can't get this one right in my head, but I thought they were generally on a larger side. These were clearly going to stay on a pretty small side, but anyway, there weren't very many on this log, so I just kind of took what I could find there. But yeah, I think it's definitely a Tricholomopsis. I found a Decora a couple of weeks ago, and the spores looked very much like this, although they were about maybe another 50% larger. But essentially that same shape. So okay, what am I doing?
Great photos. Your scope is
Thanks.
like super clean.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks.
Mycoquebec says Chilocystia abundant for Tricholomopsis rutilans.
Okay.
They've got the spore dimensions a little bit larger than what you reported.
Yeah.
Are those spores from a spore drop?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got, let me see. Let me just go back there for a second. They have 5 to 7 by 3 to 5. That's not that different than what you got.
Yeah, I'm in the range.
Yeah, you're in the range there.
Okay. All right, well then, maybe I'll call it that then. All righty. Another one that I could use, well, I want to look at this one here. Hold on. I got just this one picture well, I've got more pictures, but only this one in the field here in some pretty low light, growing on, this is oak, or certainly a hardwood, probably oak, obviously pretty far gone. It's very gray. I've got some other pictures. This was back at home. Underside, like this. But the spores, which I did get some spores off of here, to me, looked like could be Entoloma.
No, Entoloma spores are angular. Those are
Okay.
actually, those are a
These
little
are
bit
Yeah,
angular.
these are a bit angular.
Yeah, a little bit.
They don't look like prototypical Entoloma spores that are like,
Right.
you can see clearly, like, kind of count the sides on them.
Yeah.
But some of the ones, especially with that apiculus kind of offset,
Yeah.
that's an Entoloma look to them.
Yeah.
Man, that's
Right.
cool.
It might be one of the genera in the Entolomataceae,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
not
Yeah, yeah.
Entoloma proper. Entoloma strictu.
Even the macro is a bit ambiguous. I don't immediately recognize that thing as an
Yeah.
Entoloma, or
Right.
just looking at it, can't quite place it.
Where were
Yeah.
these found? What's the other on wood?
Yeah, this is on
Oh, I see they're
on a
on
hardwood of some sort.
And they have a little. Is it kind of bluish on the cap? Am I reading that right?
I don't think so. It was a very gray kind
Okay.
of a, yeah,
Yeah.
no bluish really. All right. I wasn't sure, but the spore, I have seen some Entoloma spores that are very kind of, these almost look like little miniature
Yeah.
oysters, little,
There are some Entoloma. I was just kind of reviewing some Entolomas that I found, and there are some descriptions that they have straight sides and they're angled, but they also from certain views, certain vantage points, I guess, kind of look round, and this might be one of those
yeah, okay.
things that I saw described that I was unfamiliar with, but it is cool.
Yeah, the more I
Okay.
look at these spores, the more they look to be somewhat angular. And as you say, Brandon, it might depend on perspective, the way the spore is aligned. So if the spore is aligned in one way, you might see the angles, and from another perspective, you might not. I'm going to check something.
Okay. Well, I may then just keep it moving here.
I think
One other one.
at the very least, I think you could probably throw Entolomataceae, just the Entoloma family up there.
Sure, go to the family level. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, where am I? This one I found was oh gosh, where am I? Just a few weeks ago. This one was right in my own garden, growing on the, I guess the commercially available wood mulch. Whoops, that's pretty too big. And very widely spaced gills there. Sort of seed-like or tear-like spores. I forgot, these I think were like it's about 7 by 3 microns. Yeah, maybe this one last sort of. They're very photogenic mushrooms, I think. But wondering, I'm not sure what and they also had I thought an objectionable smell. Any thoughts on this one?
Objectionable smell. there's a thing that used to be in Gymnopus. It might not be there anymore. It stinks.
Yeah.
Oh, cucumbers. Wait, I'm gonna see if I can find this thing. I'm gonna look around on the internet.
You know,
But
there's a
but it's
gym.
got these striations along the margin of the cap like this does.
I think there's something there. I know there's a Gymnopus foetus.
Oh, that would be a good lead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that might be in a different genus now. I'm not sure. I was going to check, but I think that's sounds like what I was thinking of. But that one I
Yeah,
think looks a little different than this on the underside.
the
Let me.
gills, the gill, how widely spaced they are is a little odd, I think, for Gymnopus or Colebiopsis or any of those type things.
Mhm.
But the stipe does look like it has that sheen to it, that kind of translucent quality. There are a lot of reports of Gymnopus having the fluted stem, which I think you can see on the
Yeah.
one on the left.
These both had that sort of collapsed or fluted kind of stem. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think something, you know, Gymnopus or one of those closely related species, especially with those spores, because that's the thing with Gymnopus and Colebiopsis and things like that. They have the seed shaped spores,
Mhm.
and that very much looks like them.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, the smell was definitely. It was stinky. Okay. I might go with that then. I think I might just cut it off here. There's probably plenty of folks that have stuff to share. So thanks a lot with the help there.
Thanks for sharing, Paul.
Welcome.
Those were good. I think, Christopher, you were next.
Yeah, I got one here. I'm up east of Stokes, all the way at the Delaware River. And I'm pretty sure I found this same mushroom on the same tree probably almost a decade ago. I forget how do you pronounce that. This Climacodon septentrionalis.
Septentrionalis.
Yeah, we
There you
can't see
go.
your screen either. Or
No?
I can't.
Nope.
Yes, and you very well may have seen it on a tree 10 years ago because it is recurring. I have seen it year after year after year on the same trees.
How's that? Is it up now?
Yes.
And this thing is up on this super crummy road that is right next to the river. And you can see how fresh this thing is. It doesn't even have any of that like gray color to it. But there are teeth showing.
Yeah. Common name, northern tooth.
And man, super bug. You can see on the edge of that photo. That's the river back there. So this thing is super close to the water.
Mm-hmm. Maple tree, beech tree. What kind of tree?
I would say it's probably a sugar maple.
Mm-hmm. That's its preferred host, I believe.
But man, as fresh as it is, I mean, like you could tap this thing and shake 1,000 bugs out of it. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you so rarely see that sideways beehive look on anything. So
It is so unique and cool.
yeah, I love to find that one.
Yeah. Full of a lot of water. I've seen it with like water just running right out the bottom of it too.
Yeah, they are super wet. I just barely touched it, and it's like it's a different temperature. It's so wet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's, and then I had one and just a photo. This was
Oh,
from Shark River, and there were thousands of these. You could see in the background, just above the lighter on the other side of the stick, you could see 3 right there.
yeah.
And have we done the micro? Have you put a name to it?
No, I didn't even take one because I was leaving for vacation later that day.
It's an interesting shape to the one next to the lighter. It looks like it, it's spoon shaped, but it actually has like the cup to the
Yep,
spoon.
super distinctive.
Were
And
they all like that shape, or was that just a
no, they
happenstance?
were all like that, and there
Oh,
were patches of a few hundred, and then you go a little bit further down the trail, and there's just another patch.
Yeah, you want to research either Geoglossum or Trichoglossum. But you're not going to get a species name without microscopy. And I believe it's the Trichoglossum that have the hairs on the fruit body. And the hairs are pretty big, but maybe not quite big enough to see without a little bit of magnification. But at a relatively low magnification with a microscope, maybe 100 times magnification, you will see the hairs. They're called setae, and they're long and they taper to a very acute point. And I think it's Trichoglossum that has those. Once you get genus, so it's the setae versus no setae. Then you want to get some spores. And usually these things will give up spores when you lie them down on a microscope slide. Then you want to mount the spores in I just use water or KOH. Water is probably good enough for this. And then you want to count the septa on the spores. And a lot of times the number of septa, especially if it's really consistent, will tell you what the species is, once you have the genus.
Yeah, if they're still back when I get into town, I'll grab one.
Yeah, they're fun to play around with. They were at the Helen Mickness Foray over the weekend. There were people put collections on my table, and I scoped 3 different things, and it looked like 3 different species based on the spore, also the spore size. The spores are really big for these things. A small spore would be like 50 microns long, and a big spore would be like 170 microns long.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're really big spores on some of them. I think it's the Trichoglossum that have the really big spores.
There are species in both genera that have pretty massive spores, but yes, Trichoglossum has the setae.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to get into like identifying these things, you need to do a lot of work in the field and under the scope. So you need to measure, how big the fruit body is. You need to get a measurement of the head and of the foot and see,
length and width.
Yep.
Okay.
Length and width. You need to see if there's a transition from the head to the foot. So if it's just kind of an abrupt head, or if there's a bit of a tapering going on. And then you need to measure everything. Asci, paraphyses, apex of the paraphyses. You need to look at the shape of the apex of the paraphyses. And if you do that, you can find some really cool stuff. They require some work, but yeah, there's answers to be had if you do the work.
Yeah, there's a pretty good chance I find myself back at that park in the next couple of days. So I'll see if I don't come across some good specimens. We'll see See what I could get.
Cool. Well, enjoy your vacation.
Thank you. I'm enjoying
Um,
it so much I came to Taxonomy Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh,
I just want to mention I put a link in the chat. So my name is represented by DW in the chat, and there's a link there for Paragymnopus perforans. Paul might want to look at that because I think that might be what his stinky Gymnopus like mushrooms are.
I will take a look at that.
all right, cool. Thanks, Christopher. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Brandon, for the info on how to dive in on those little earth tongues. All right, does anyone else have something to share from their desktop?
Yeah, I can share a few things.
All right,
You just queue a
good to
few
see you
up.
here, Jason.
Yeah, sorry I'm late.
I'll have something in a minute. Honey? I need to take a turn this to my mail.
Let's see.
That one?
All right, can you see my iNaturalist page?
Yes.
All right. So, again, Amanita to start with. This came from Hutchinson Memorial over the weekend. I didn't photograph it till I got home. It's got a small partial veil and a pretty large base. Here's the cap. Sorry, the color's not great on these. Yellowish cap.
Habitat renewal. I found it.
Here's a shot of the gills.
I'm going to show you how.
Is this just a lavendula or any ideas on this might be?
It's got an interesting shaped base, not quite
Yeah.
rooting, just kind of elongated, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Were
a
there-
strange one.
Were there any deposits of yellow vulva on the top of the bulb? And was the vulva itself on the cap sort of colored like mustard, some shade of yellow?
Yes, the top was yellowish. The stem was yellowish. The first thing is the yellow, you said it's a yellowish at the top of the bulb, like
Below
here.
that, right where the
Like
bulb
right
transitions
here?
to this type, yeah.
Let's
Any
see, I
any
guess.
deposits there?
You thinking like a Flaviconia type thing, Igor?
No, I'm thinking about sinapivolva.
Sinapivolva, cool.
Yeah, it's a section of phalloidii that doesn't have the amatoxins. It happens to be like a basal clade in phalloidii. It contains a number of interesting amanitas from around the world. In North America, I think we have 3 species, and maybe there's like a few more from China, like Bavarina, Francii, Levistraida, and this undescribed name that I just mentioned, Sinapivolva. Unfortunately, the lighting here is not that great. It's kind
Yeah.
of dark, and the mushroom is
I-
shriveled up.
I don't really see any yellow there. I'm looking at it now in the microscope. But I'm also not sure what to look for. So let me look
Oh,
at pictures
what-
of.
Let me do this. I'm going to post a link from a bona fide Sinapivolva observation from a Mo, and you tell me if your
Cool.
mushroom resemble that or not.
That sounds good.
There's Sinapivolva, and there's another one that still has a coded name, I think, and there's one from Texas called, as I said, Levistraida. That doesn't occur here up in Northeast. What was this? This one is from actually from our foray in Horseshoe Bend. Chat. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah, it does look like it.
I mean, I can probably post a better observation. How about this one here from by Liz Broderick from a few years ago? It has a better representation of the fruiting bodies.
Was the cap striate, or was that just a result of it kind of drying out at home?
No, I think it was striate when it was fresh.
Okay.
Well, if that's the case, then it cannot be that.
Well, this looks striate.
It's probably because it's drying out. I posted another observation in the chat. Yeah, something like this. This is a better representation. You can see the vulva at the base.
Oh, I
of the bulb.
see. Yeah.
We're at the top of the bulb, and they have a small ring that sort of sits in the middle, and it's also yellowish. So, yeah, if your Amanita looks something like this, then that's what it is. Although it appears to be that all these observations are limited to a particular region in New Jersey along Route 29 and I-195. I think there was like one outlier by somebody else on the MO from a while back, but most of them have been found in this general region. So that's
Alright,
my
cool.
best guess. I don't have any other ideas. The fruit body, unfortunately, is not in best shape.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Igor. Got another one for you. This is a bolete from the Pine Barrens, which I'm calling Porphyrelis sordidus.
No, it's a very, very old fruiting body of Rufoboletus oliveisporus.
All right.
Yeah, these things never get buggy, and when they get old, they just look brown all over, and it's such a stark contrast with fresh fruiting bodies that feature all sorts of colors like yellow and red and fox red on the cap. You know, you should take a look at some of the observations on the Mo of the species, and you'll see how beautiful this mushroom can be and what it turns into when it gets old.
Could you please type that name in the chat?
Yeah, it's a provisional combination, but genetics basically point out to this monotypic genus that was exemplified by a species in China by the name of Hainanensis. So this is our answer to China from North America, Rufoboletus. As far as I know, there are no Porphyrelis in the Pine Barrens.
Okay.
Especially Porphyrelis porphyrisporus. You might find like sordidus, but those mushrooms are very small usually. These things are huge.
So here's another one from Sunday at Hutchinson Memorial Forest, which I'm calling Russula albonigra. It has a dark cap, dark stem, and it bruises black.
Gills are, close, I guess. They're not as distantly spaced as some of the other blackening russulas.
Are they
Right.
marginate as well?
They're marginate
Look-
too, unless
look
this is just a
marginate.
blackening phenomenon on the edges as well. That's unusual.
That thing's beautiful. It looks old, but then you flip it over and the gills are in good condition.
Yeah.
Oh, albonigra, I think, is a European species, and who knows what we have here. We collected some Russulas in previous forays, some of which I saved. So we'll probably get them sequenced, but I'm skeptical that our choices are only limited to this particular taxon in North America.
Mm.
But, for the lack of better information, this is albonigra, right?
Yeah.
There's no chance it could be like Lactarius ligniotis.
There's no milk and it stains black, right?
Right. I didn't get any milk, but
Could have been dry.
doesn't mean it wouldn't have more if it was fresh. I mean,
Yeah,
this-
I've found a similar thing that the closest I could get was Russula albonigra. I think that's what I called it. I think I might have an MO observation from a few years back. So the thing that's makes this different from some of the other blackening russulas is there's no red stage in the bruising.
Oh, interesting. But the fragility of it.
right, and then maybe one more. This was a new one for me. This is also from Hutchinson Memorial at on Sunday. So this is just some black stuff on a rotting branch.
Good shot.
See, they're kind of cespitose. And they tend to be in these rows, these linear rows.
Is that a lichen or?
Not a lichen, I think it's a saprobe.
Okay. Oh, look at that. Some kind of
Some
xylarian.
kind of zalic.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, that was my first
no,
thought.
I think you have this right. That's the name
Yeah.
I've always put to this. They're really small, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what? Yeah, I'm not familiar with that name. Wow.
Somebody else really good.
Yeah, like these are maybe a couple of millimeters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these things you can see. Yeah.
You want to throw one of those out, you can.
All right. That's all I got.
Oh, what a name.
There are, I mean, there are some other things I've put that name to it and people have agreed with it before. But then, if you really go down the rabbit hole, there's a lot of little ascos that look very similar to that. So I think that's a good name, but it certainly could be something else,
Would the spores help? Is that kind of tell them apart?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I still have it. I'll try to get some spores out of it.
Actually, I think the ASI for that one are unique. I think I would have to look into it, but I think they might have some unique looking ASI.
Hmm.
All right. Anything else, Jason?
Nope, that's it for me.
Okay. All right, so looking back in the chat here, Peter has a stinkhorn, can bring that up, and Damon also asked you a question about getting in touch with you offline. So why don't you go ahead, Peter?
Okay, I am trying to get a screenshot for you folks to look at. And maybe, does anybody see that?
Yes.
All right, so I was in Colorado 2 months ago, pretty dry, 3,000 foot elevation, irrigated lawn probably. but still in the mountains. And this popped up. Very exciting, I know. So you see two other stages there. You see one cut off where these phallic things are generally hollow. And to the left of that, there's a egg stage, just like Amanita might have. And so often stinkhorns are tough to ID because of stages. And the only one I come up with is Rebellnii. Maybe somebody's more astute or some short. A lot of people know more about this one, and maybe they come up with a name for this. It still shows the spores on the gleba, and that's it, about 5 inches tall. Yeah.
Can we zoom in a little more?
Okay.
I was trying to do that. I'm not sure how to do that.
We're gonna try to zoom in a little bit more.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh, hello.
I know. There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's a classic phallic mushroom. I've found several genera around here in Northeast and in other parts of the world, let's say, but it's I always want to try to nail a name on something so I can be proper in describing it to somebody else.
So why not imputicus? Like, I'm sure you ruled it out for a reason, but I'm just curious.
Phallus imputicus?
Yeah.
No, I don't like that one for this one. Why did I rule it out? Good question. I see that. I got a picture here in David Aurora's book. In color, yeah. And if I was, it's nice to have somebody who likes to touch in on or say something about something like that. And so, yeah, I would say, okay, I'm good with it. I just don't know Western mushrooms, Colorado, and maybe there's something else out there. But obviously, David Aurora was a Californian and includes everything in the United States, pretty much. So, yeah, I'd go that. I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Well, I'm not saying it is. I was just
Yeah,
curious.
no,
I mean,
I like the way the cap, we'll call it, looks relative to the photo I have here. It's really like a morel almost in terms of the undulations, although it's an ascomycete, where it's got these deep curves in. And of course, this is a certain stage that I got it at. I wish I had bet more fruitings, but I had to leave. So
yeah, the Ravenelli is more smooth, right? Is
Right.
it? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay.
I just had never seen a Ravenelli. So I was like, maybe it's something I haven't seen before. So yeah.
Do we have anyone else with something to share? Or we'll go to the email. A couple of people have emailed some things in. I think we'll go over to email. Let me get to it here. All right, Hunter, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Since I got yours first.
Thank you.
All right, so let me share.
Yeah, so I just have a bunch of boletes this week that I thought I'd try to get named, and it's already happened. Igor saw them on Mushroom Observer and set me straight on most of them, which yeah, I only had one name really to put on one of them, but this is the stipe of Rufoboletus ornitopus. And I kind of thought it was that, but the ones I've found before, the cap was more yellow, and this one, does that not open for you, Lila?
Now I was struggling sharing the wrong window here. I think I
Oh.
got it now. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of small though, like I don't know if you can make it full screen or in the top right corner or no. Yeah, cool. Thanks. Yeah, so the ones I've seen in the past had a more yellow cap, but this one had a dark green olive cap. But this is the reticulated stipe, and there are more pictures. Hopefully,
Okay,
unless
let's get a picture of that and put it up.
All right. Yeah, when I make it really big, I can't see the controls.
Oh, okay. Well, let's stay
Okay, I'm gonna
small
go-
then. That's fine. I'm sorry. So anyways, I found this, oh yeah, and I only have this picture. I did take a picture of the pores, which were yellow as well. When I found this in the woods in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, it looked a more dark green, brown, olive, more olive. This looks quite brown, but it had a lot of green tones. This was like a couple days later. But yeah, that's it. And I don't know much about edibility on this. Igor, is this one people enjoy or no?
I think it's edible when it's non-bitter, but it's been reported to be bitter. I don't think I've tried the species. So I mean, if you look in the book by the Bissets, it's probably going to list this as edible. That's my guess. Maybe Dave has eaten these things. Maybe he can comment on the edibility status.
Yeah, I've eaten ornatopes, Rufoboletus ornatopes. It's reported as being really bitter. It's probably a species complex. So probably some of them are bitter. The ones that are not bitter are sour. They're not very good. I tried them a lot. I tried eating this a long time ago. I didn't think it was any good. It's just kind of sour and not pleasant tasting.
It definitely doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't, scream like eat me at all. But yeah, okay. So yeah, thanks. I think I'll be able to ID this one in the future now that I see some cap color variation and stuff. The stipe's pretty telling.
Yeah, Dave was right about this being a species group. Indeed, there are sequences out there of properly documented collections, and we have at least 2 species in New Jersey. Very different DNA, but very similar looks. And there's also a species that was described from North Carolina by an early 19th century mycologist, not Berkeley, I forget his name. Anyway, it will come to me, but it's called Rufoboletus recipes. And whether that's the same as this other ornatopes that we find in Jersey is another question, because the type collection is very old, and we have to build up on the species concept for that thing. But yes, so most likely more than one. I mean, definitely more than one, but we don't know if it's more than 2.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense in my experience as well. Okay. And then I've got another one that
What happened there?
I just found this next one locally in a white oak, predominantly white oaks, bur oaks, maybe. I am not sure, but on Oak Highland, and really, really attractive.
So
Only-
Lila, this link also gave me trouble. Her second and fourth link for some reason just opens another email.
Okay.
Wow, is that weird? And I actually tested these. I sent the email to myself and opened them all because it seems like mine always have trouble.
All right. Well, we're gonna skip it.
Yeah,
You can try
sorry.
resending it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, okay, so this is Butyriboletus bruneus. And I found it in Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, near Wausau, and it stains blue, you can see on the pores. And then hopefully we can look at some more pictures. Yeah, and that's what it looks like inside. And there's one more picture. Yeah, and so the stipe also stains, and
More importantly, sorry to cut in, is that the stipe is reticulated, and the articulation is small mesh, and could be very fine and blending in with the yellow background of the mushroom. But if you zoom in, you'll see that it's pretty prominent, and it goes pretty down, on the stipe toward the base.
oh,
Yeah,
good.
looks like halfway anyway.
Yeah,
Is
if you carefully rub the stipe surface and don't press real hard, you can get the reticulation to stain blue, and then it really stands out.
Can you folks see that? I can see that really well.
Well, you're supposed to click this such that it increases in size, but
Yeah, we see a minimized window. Can you maximize that window
Wow.
and then hit?
Yeah, this is really screwed up.
It's like 20
so
inches. My screen, it's huge on my screen. Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I can
better.
see the netting, where it's blue, but I can also see what looks like a netting where the areas are red and deep yellow at the bottom, right above the cut. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely netted, from this point up.
Yeah, this species is strictly hemlock associated. We've
Yeah.
never found this in New Jersey, as far as I know.
Okay, good. Yeah, good to know hemlock, because hemlocks were, predominant, so, yeah.
An
Yeah,
uncharacteristically bug-free specimen.
Yeah, in Dave's neck of the woods, these things appear quite early, like maybe in June.
Interesting.
In some
Yeah, I
areas,
think I've seen these as early as May.
maybe in
or
May. Yeah, that's like
late
grows
May.
together with edgeless.
Okay, so it's probably a bit further north as well. I mean, and obviously west, but
Yeah, I've collected this once in upstate New York. I think it was like August, like one of my collections from a very, very long time ago.
cool. Well, thank you so much for IDing it for
Yeah, I
me.
mean, that gave me a little bit of a challenge because I don't frequently think about this mushroom because I don't see it very often, and it's not in New Jersey.
Right.
And I really had to zoom in to see the reticulation, and then I had the aha moment.
Yay. Excellent.
Yeah, very beautiful. Really neon yellow there.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's like outlined. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, there are only 3 Butyriboletus species in Eastern North America. This one, Rosio purpureus, which is very, very rare in New Jersey, only one collection site, Meadowwoods. And last but not least, Butyriboletus staganacensis, a name that's going to be deprecated in the future because it's been published by Smith and Thiers before under a different epithet.
Igor, what about biliae?
Oh yeah, I forgot about biliae. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Biliatus. So make it 4. Biliae is actually a southeastern taxon that crawls up the coast, in the outer Atlantic plain, all the way up to maybe it has to be Massachusetts because it was described from there.
Yeah, I think they found it at NEMF last year, and I know it's been found in Connecticut.
From Cape Cod, it goes from Cape Cod, and I think I sequenced the collection of it from Louisiana. So it's a strictly coastal plain thing.
So wasn't Frosty Eye in that genus briefly,
It
or
was, but it was in and out, and now it's definitely out of it because it's
exudoporous
exudoporous.
now?
Yep.
Yeah,
mhm.
okay, yeah, because it's gone back and forth. Okay, thanks.
All right, beautiful.
Okay, let's see if we can open
Some
some.
other ones here. All right.
That last one seems like a cool find, but we just don't get that in New Jersey,
No, we
right?
don't.
Is it-
We're
yeah.
very poor on Butyriobalatus. Only Rosio purpureus is in New Jersey. Like I said, only at Meadowwood.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah, and here we're going into this big rabbit hole.
Yeah,
We got a huge workout with these things in Pennsylvania at the foray in Montalto. It was very, very confusing.
yeah, really cool though too to see that staining on the pores and pores coming through that blue-gray.
I think this is bicolor, and I have a
Mm.
few tells of the species. Look at the pore surface. The pores are not round; they're compound. You see a pore within a pore, so it kind of resembles. It's not bolletoid; it's more like bolletinoid. And then the pore surface transitions smoothly into the stipe. There's no gaps, spaces, or any kind of notches or whatever. And then the stipe, if you scroll down the stipe, I mean, it can be reticulate in the apex and maybe even below, but the red coloration comes in these blotches and streaks, more like, blotches, and a very dense coalescing into like a solid red color at the bottom and progressively getting rarefied toward the top, intermixing with the yellow background. So that kind of pattern to me indicates bicolor more than anything else. And of course, the staining of the flesh is almost non-existing or non-existent. So I think this is Beirangia, but by color, in my opinion.
Yeah, sometimes the flesh will develop a few small areas of light blue staining.
Correct.
Yeah,
But it's a very slow stainer,
very
and
slow. Yep.
it's very patchy. It doesn't form like a solid, sheet of color across, the flesh like you see in Lanmao, for instance, like
Right.
Sensibilior, for instance, right? That you know of. Or Neobalatus, you slice the whole thing, turns blue instantly everywhere.
Right.
Um,
This is a lot of staining on the pores, but I agree. It looks like bicolor. It's just a little darker staining on the pores than typically
right.
for that color.
But remember, staining varies depending on the moisture content or the amount of the that organic compound that gets oxidized, by the enzyme in the presence of air. So, you have to sort of be careful about, making any kind of, driving conclusions from, based on the staining alone. It's a tricky business. You have to look at, other things as well. But yeah, typically Beirangia bicolor doesn't stain blue at all inside the mushroom.
On that note of what kind of staining do you want to pay attention to? Are the dark red bug tunnels, is that unique to Beirangia, or is that kind of across the board with Lamella and some of these other blue staining ones?
I think you see the kind of staining in different kind of mushrooms, so I'm reluctant to treat it as a unique trait to Beirangia or Lanmao or both. So, we need to see more data. But when you have this yellow flesh, even like in Neobalatus, when you get larval tunnels, you'll get the same kind of reddish staining from that. Of course, the tube lengths are fairly narrow when compared to the thickness of the cap in the middle, 3-to-1 ratio, I would say. So that's very typical for both Beirangia and Lanmao, and atypical for other bicolor-like mushrooms.
I would
be
use
it
a Sherpa. I was
Rufoboletus.
going to do that.
What's that?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, both Beringia and Wamau have narrow tubes, and in young specimens, the tube layer can be as thin as 0.5 millimeter, almost like a razor blade thin. So that's another character that can distinguish, between these two genera and other things like Pulchroboletus, for instance, which is another genus that contains red and yellow bluing boletes.
Cool.
And smaller things like Hortiboletus.
Did you find a lot of these, Hunter?
No, not really, actually. No. Mm-mm.
Another thing about Beringia bicolor is that the cap color is sort of brick red, and it's not glossy. It's almost like velvety,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
tends to fade away, in age, retaining only like a fraction of its original color intensity.
And when they're young, I found a young one recently. They're almost uniquely colored red for Boletaceae, like almost maroon.
Yes, almost maroon. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen a couple of examples like that at the EPM foray last weekend. Very, very dark cap, almost like the color of the blood from the vein, deoxygenated, deep red.
Yeah.
And when they get old, they can fade. The caps can fade to be like a dull yellow.
Yes, that can happen as well, right? Palidorosia, Wamau palidorosia can do this too, although so you have to be careful. Yeah, I think this is classic. I mean, from the pictures alone, I think this is a classic Beringia bicolor.
Cool. Thank you.
Great finds.
Thanks. So 4 doesn't work and 4 doesn't work.
Yeah, I didn't try it, but per Jason, it's not working either.
Are you copying and pasting the links, or you're changing the numbers with, from one link to another manually?
I'm just clicking on the link here. I can copy it and see what happens if I do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was the species that the
There we
link
go.
is in? Oh, nice, sweet.
Oh, yay, great. Yeah, okay, so this is the only one I did ID myself, and I think it's correct, although the only other one of this I found had a much more orangish cap. So this is Boletus atkinsonii. It's basically a porcini. It's got the white reticulation up near the cap, and very white pores, and very small pores. It's almost, I almost thought it had like a hypomyces on it. Is that normal?
That's not hypomyces. That's that thin layer of cavocystidi that covers the pore surface when the mushrooms are young. This is their trademark, in a sense.
Yeah.
All porcinis have that feature.
Great.
And it's conserved across the entire genus. So yeah, I mean, that's what sort of unites them. But it's not a trait that's unique only to porcini. As I said before, it can be
Yeah.
found in another genus, at least, that's called Tangioboletus, which is also from the same subfamily. So it's one of these non-plesiomorphic, if I'm saying this correctly, traits. They developed independently more than once across the, in genera, throughout the evolutionary times. So you cannot say that, if this genus has that it's only like unique to this one. It cannot be necessarily true. Just because we went for so many millions of years of evolution, we lost so many species along the way due to extinctions.
So
Okay.
field guides will call this stuffed pores.
Correct, which is a very incorrect term.
That's what they say, though.
Did
Yeah,
you call, did you say that was Chilocystidia?
According to Joseph Sutara, who did a study on these things, maybe 20 years ago, and published a paper in that, yes, it's Chilocystidia.
so I want to eat these. The stems are very firm. And I mean, I might have to cut some away, but just saute in butter or what? Because I'm not gonna dry just the two is all I have.
Yeah, saute in butter or olive oil. I did that too, very
Yeah.
quick and easy. Yeah, I have no problem with this ID. The caps are
You want to talk about the cap a little bit? Yeah.
they're here they appear to be both cracked and reticulate. So Atkinsonia usually has cracked caps, and it's very light colored mushroom. In my experience, Atkinsonia can be distinguished probably from other species just because it's so lightly colored overall. But up north you have to be more careful. There's a collection of an unknown, undescribed porcini by Eva Skifek from Canada that everybody in Canada, including René Leboeuf, have been calling Atkinsoniae, but it turned out to be a brand new novel species unknown to science.
Mm.
The type collections was sequenced, so if you sequence your porcini, you can probably get an ID, with 100% certainty. But this is a difficult genus to identify, especially these summer oak-loving porcini from the Arius clade. But we only have a few species, so by exclusion, you can arrive maybe to a couple of names and say, well, it's a toss up between this and something else.
So can you just name one or two of the other oak loving?
All right. So other than the Saperans group, which is a different branch of the porcini, the Arius group, or the greater edgeless clade, consists of Varipes. It's a peck species.
Oh yeah.
Varipes variety Fagicola, which is not Varipes at all. It's an independent taxon, and it's going to get a new name. And Smith actually described it a second time as another name called Insoetans, and that's probably what it's going to be. Okay, so we have that, and then we have peck species Leptocephalus, which is a illegitimate name because it had already been preoccupied by something else before peck. So that species is very dark, has a dark brown cap and much darker stipe, and I think I can ID it in the field pretty well. So what else is out there? Varipes, Varipes variety Fagicola, Atkinsonii, Leptocephalus, and I thought there was one more.
Isn't there one they get in Connecticut? What's that one that has the yellow band around the top of the stem?
Oh, that's used to be Gertrudii, now it's Nobilis, and we suspected it was Nobilis, but that's
Oh,
from,
so there's no more Gertrudii. Okay, that's the one I meant.
yeah, that's from the lineage that contains Saperans. That's a different ballgame.
All right.
I mean, they're all great edibles, don't get me wrong. It's just
Yeah.
phylogenetically, it's a different clade within Boletus sensu stricta. So maybe I'm
Hunter,
missing one more
how
species.
big are these?
What's that?
How big are these
Yeah.
mushrooms, Hunter? Hunter, do you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. The bigger one's probably about 6 inches, and the smaller one, maybe 4.
They're pretty big and they look pretty solid.
Yep.
You could slice these like a 1/4 inch thick and grill them, and you baste them with like oil, vinegar, sort of dressing, and so make sure you salt them.
Sounds good. Yeah, that sounds nice. I'll do
Yeah,
it.
you only do that with the really big, really farm ones.
So many of them I found, I could feel the stems were hollow, so I just left them thinking that maggots or bugs had found them. Is that a correct assumption?
Sometimes if you break the cap off, you can salvage part of the cap, especially if you're going to dry them out.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, found so few porcini, so it's exciting. Can we try 2 then?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Oh yeah, so this I found locally yesterday, in these white oaks. I was mentioning probably bur oaks or probably, in a highland area, and, cool reticulation there. It's really beautiful, kind of rainbow colored, and the pores are really interesting as well. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of things I hadn't even noticed before. Since I just found it, I really haven't had a chance to look at it too much. But again, Igor, I just threw up, bolitalis or bolitaceae, and he put in Xerocomus tenax. And I think probably the tells are that colorful reticulation. It's interesting how the pores transition to this type. It looks kind of maybe like a defining characteristic. The yellow pores are pretty thick on the cut side. The tubes, I should say. So that's like what, about 50-50 there? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the
it's less than 1-to-1. The tubes are longer
40.
than the flesh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah,
bit.
this is a non-staining species of Xerocomus, and based on what I know from that big Bolitaceae study by Denzinger et al., it actually sits on a basal branch to all Xerocomus, so it's in a special position. It's a very unique species, and morphologically, it's also kind of a distinguished species. Wide mesh articulation, very irregular. It has a very tough stipe at the bottom. The tip is like rock hard, but I think many of these Xerocomus have the same kind of feature. And the overall, again, when I looked at that picture, that's what it is. I mean, it just screamed at me 10x. There's just nothing that looks like it.
Another feature of Xerocomus is it that the pores, the tubes actually rip open?
Yeah,
when
the
you cut it?
pores, right. The pores are angular and wide, irregular. And the tubes, they don't have the glue between the tubes, individual tubes. So when you try to pull the tube layer apart, individual tubes don't separate from each other. They just break. You snap them longitudinally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's definition of xericomoid, hymenum. That gooey stuff between the tubes doesn't exist. Whereas like Boletus, Lexinum, I think, other bolete genera, when you separate the tubes, they separate cleanly from each other. They are intact. You can individually separate the tubes. In this kind of a scenario, you can't.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah.
I
Beautiful
remember
finds.
there was, I saw the species in one location, and it took me another 12 years or something like that to see it again there.
Hey, you described it, Igor, as net-like reticulation. Is that like as accurate of a description as we're gonna get on that?
Well, reticulation is netting. I'm just saying that it's very, very irregular, and it's usually very crude mesh. You
It's like
can see
so
that,
big.
and that basically reflects the shape of the spores, of the pores. because the
So there's not like a
reticulation,
different word for whatever that is.
yeah, the
Course,
netting and reticulation are synonyms. You know, it's the same. It's the same. Has the same meaning.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, coarse and irregular reticulation kind of.
Yeah, and again, because the pores are so regular, it just drags down, and you get the same kind of pattern on the stipe. You know, compare it with reticulation from Rufoboletus bruneus, and you'll get a very homogeneous size population for all the uh, for for all the spaces in the nets. Yeah, the
Yeah,
size.
this one's also very widely. The networks are really wide.
Yes, they're wide. You know, yeah, the spaces are large between the lines. Yes.
Readily apparent.
Yeah, I think if you see the species often enough, you will not be able to confuse it with anything else.
Isn't there one that like a northern conifer species that has a similar wide reticulation, like Xerocomus ferruginous or something like that?
I think Ferruginous actually is European. I don't think it's here. It's Spadiceus that has reticulation, but
Okay, yeah, that's right. I think those were considered synonyms at one time. Okay,
yeah, I don't think they are. I think we have our own Xerocomus. You know, we don't have any overlap with Europe as far as I know.
right. But there is this northern thing that you see like in the Adirondacks.
Yeah, and you know, at the Como for last year, we collected a Xerocomus that I haven't seen anywhere else. I think it's a northern species as well. I think I might have discussed this in Taxonomy Tuesday some time ago. So yeah, another mysterious genus that and it's not a large one, but we have to really delineate all the species and get all the sequences, in a row and see what they are.
For the oak loving, is there a Chippewensis or
I think that's a Boletus that's been merged into Edulis.
oak loving or no?
Mixed woods.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that Chippewensis was really. I mean, I saw variable reports on where one found it, and I saw variable reports on the colors of the cap. But it's just like an Edulis that doesn't look exactly like the Edulis you find under spruce trees, let's say.
Yeah, I called a thing Chippewanensis one time, and I found it. I researched the name, and then I realized I was in Chippewa County, where it was described from. So, it might be a local thing, Chippewanensis.
Yeah, I found things in the Adirondacks in mixed woods, like with beech and birch and maybe some hemlocks here and there that I thought maybe could be called Chippewansis, but like Igor said, they're all just Edulis. They've been merged into Edulis.
Yeah, this was in Michigan, where Chippewa County.
Yeah.
Where it was found, where it was described from. So maybe
Yeah.
it's a local thing.
Well, I was curious because actually, ironically, my Boletus atkinsonii were from Chippewa County, Wisconsin, and so. But I know I've heard that, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not sticking, that name. Yeah, but
All right, we're coming up on 9 o'clock. Dave's got a number of things here, so if people need to drop, of course, you can drop at any time, but if folks want to stick around, we can.
But
try
by
to
the
move
way, I
through.
put something in the chat for I forget who it was who had the mushroom that we didn't know what it was, but it had spores that were slightly angular when viewed, when positioned in a certain way. I put a proposal into the chat. Entocybe nitida. So it's in there if you want to look at it. I forget who that
So-
was.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, that's Paul. Yeah, let me take a look at that.
Yeah, so I didn't do any analysis on this. I wish I would have actually. It looks like a Leucaria, but it sort of doesn't look like a Leucaria. There's no Leucaria that I can find that looks like this. I think this is Pseudo-Leucaria pachyphylla. Now, usually the gills are not decurrent like they are on this one, but the cap's just really stretched out. This is past maturity, and the cap has really stretched upward vertically, and then has pulled the gills up so that they have this decurrent appearance. Is this ID correct? I honestly don't know. It's kind of a guess, but it does. This species does look somewhat like this. If you look on Mycoquebec, it's there, and if you look online, you'll find other pseudo Leucaria photos and observations. And I think once before, Jacob Polk may have ID'd something that I found as pseudo Leucaria, and I really should have checked that up, but I've been too busy today. So I should do that and compare with my own observation from a few years ago. So we don't need to talk about this one too long unless somebody thinks they know what it is.
No, but I thought I might have seen it too. Did you find it in conifers or in what?
What's the location for this one? I think this was Mont Alto State Park.
No, Michaud State Forest.
Oh, it's Michaud. Oh, okay, no, it was in. There were pines here and there, but it was oak-dominated woods.
Mm.
So that was on the 2nd. Then that was on August 2nd, because I don't think I got the location right. I may put the wrong location in.
Okay.
Was
Yeah, and
this on the 1st or the 2nd?
Say
Okay, it was
second.
on the
Second.
2nd. Yeah,
Saturday.
I think I found these on the 2nd. In you know what? I have to. It's bothering me now. Now I think I may have found these on the 1st, which would have been Mont Alto State Park, where there were a lot of conifers. So anyway, we don't need to spend much time on this one. I just thought it was kind of an interesting, because I don't know what
I
it
have
is.
no opinion, but do they exude latex like a Lactarius would?
No, pseudo-Leucaria, not pseudo-Lactarius. Pseudo-Leucaria. So they kind of resemble a Leucaria. So Karen's here. I don't know. Do you want to talk about your interesting lichen?
What interesting lichen.
This obsessive thing.
Oh, well, it was just that it was new. It's actually not especially interesting.
Okay, she says it's not very special, but she didn't find. First time she found it. It's not a name I've seen before. What are all these little hairy bumps all over the leafy things?
I think that one has what's called Isidia.
Isidia, starting with I.
Yeah.
Is Jason still here?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. Are those Isidia, Jason? What do you think?
Yeah, those are definitely Isidia.
Okay, good. Okay, so I took some photos through a loop to get some nice close-up views.
So this one, I think you got to do a C test on the medulla. Mylocroa obsessa is usually really oppressed to the substrate. So this doesn't look like obsessa to me, but that doesn't mean that it's not what it is. I also don't see any photos of the underside of the lichen. It'd be good to get a photo showing the color of the underside.
Did you bring this one home?
No, I think Dorothy has it.
Oh, Dorothy has it. Maybe.
Yeah, I think the other one that this could be is hypotrichina. There's a
Same genus
hypotrichina.
or
No, that is the genus hypotrichina.
oh, okay.
I've never found that either.
She never found that either, so could be.
Let's see, hypotrichina.
It was growing on rock.
growing on a rock, and there's moss there also. There was moss on the rock, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's growing on a mossy rock.
Yeah, Hypotrichina is usually on bark, but it doesn't look oppressed enough to be obsessed to me, so I'm not sure. I would do a medulla test. That's the next thing I would. A C test, if it's either pink or weakly yellow, would separate those two.
Ah, okay. Maybe we'll touch base with Dorothy and see if she still has it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. So this is a lichen for the rest of you who are wondering, what are we looking at there? Oh, this is pretty cool. Hypomyces torminosus. I'm pretty sure about this. So this looks like a Lactarius mushroom, but I couldn't tell you what Lactarius species it is. But this Hypomyces has transformed the gills into these hard, wavy things, similar to a lobster mushroom, which would be Hypomyces lactifluorum. Boy, say that 5 times fast. Anyway, so this one here is colored differently than the lobster. And so a few people at the foray thought it might have just been a young lobster that hasn't become red yet. But I dug out a little piece and scoped it and found spores. And the spores that I found are right in the bullseye for the range of spore dimensions listed by Michael Quebec for this species. The photos look like Michael Quebec's photos, same sort of beigey, yellowish, whitish color. And the spores for Hypomyces lactifluorum are a lot larger. They're like 25 to 35 or something like that, microns long. So it's sort of a close up through a loop. You can see these little sort of dots, these raised dots that develop on the fruit body. So that was a new one for me. And somebody asked me, because I sent one of our club members, I sent him some photos of this, and he asked if this is what's known as the white lobster or the ghost lobster, and I don't know. I Googled white lobster, ghost lobster mushroom online, and all they do is talk about whether or not they think you can eat it, and nobody seems to know a species name for that thing, but it might be this.
Is that ghost lobster? Have you heard talk of that over the years here on the East Coast? I kind of thought that was like a West Coast thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I was the first I heard of it today, because like I say, one of our club members asked me if this was a white lobster, and so then I did a little online checking, and I couldn't find very much
Yeah.
useful information about what this white lobster is.
That was a Lactarius, did you say?
I'm pretty sure it was a Lactarius, yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, the species Hypomyces torminosus supposedly infects only Lactarius pubescens and Lactarius torminosus. That they're these bearded Lactarii, and bearded meaning that the edges of the caps have all these hairs on them. Now you can't see that on this mushroom, but having been infected by this Hypomyces, it's highly likely that trait disappears. So it looks like this is an ascus here. Although you can't really see an ascus, it must be hyaline. And if I had more time, this was at a big foray, and there's just so many things to look at, and the time goes by so quickly. But maybe if I would have mounted some of the material in a stain like Congo red, maybe the walls of the ascus would have stood out a little bit, because there's 8 spores there, and there were a few other of these rows of spores in 8. So I'm assuming that they are actually inside an ascus.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe that's a chain of conidia, but I counted them out before you said 8. And
yeah, and the conidia for these Hypomyces for the anamorph is they're different.
Mhm.
They look
Yep.
different than this.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Cool.
So the spores were 17 to 20 by 4 to 5, more or less. And that's right smack in the middle of the range reported for this species. So that was pretty cool. I've never found this before. I tried this out. I have it here at home.
Yeah, very interesting. Good. All right. That was the second one, I think. Third?
Yeah, I'm going to try to go faster because it's
Oh, no,
late.
I guess it
Oh,
was.
that was was that the third one? I hope I didn't give you the same one twice. Let's go to the last one.
Oh,
see if
yeah. Oh,
that-
the lichen. The lichen was the second one. Okay. Third, fourth. Okay, here we are. Ooh.
Oh, okay. Amanita cinereopinosa. Pretty sure this is correct. It's a rooting. Well, I guess it's either in section Roanokensis or Strobiliformes, and I don't know how to tell the difference without looking it up. So it's what we used to call Lepidella sensu boss, before that that characterization was completely changed. So it's got the appendiculate margin. See, there's like velar material clinging to the gills, clinging to the edge of the cap. And the UV material on the cap is a ragged sort of gray ornamentation. And it also did have the sort of the pleasant odor. I think this is the one that Rod described as smelling like bread dough or something. And it did have an unusual but pleasant odor. So I'm pretty sure that this is the correct ID here. By the way, I just imported these observations from INAT, and some of them I think I'm going to probably downgrade my confidence a little bit. But I think I'll leave this one as I call it that because I'm pretty sure it's what it is.
What was there another mushroom here over top of it or something? What happened to the
I don't know. Maybe a leaf.
Oh, okay, leaf, yeah.
Yeah, this ornamentation rubs off pretty easily.
Okay. All right.
So it was another species. I think there's a place out in the Poconos where I think I found this, but the only times I've seen it was immature, and I wasn't sure if that's what it was. And then it didn't mature; it just stayed like a button, just barely sticking out of the ground. So it was cool to find this. It's a new one, more or less a new one for me.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, that's a good find.
So Marasmius nigrodiscus, this is starting to seem to me to be a species complex. I don't know. So I didn't save this. I should have. I don't have great pictures of it. It was growing in like glitter in a coniferous area in Mont Alto State Park, and there was a lot of staining on the gills on the one, and the other one there was hardly any staining at all. Michael Quebec does say, or it might have been Mushroom Expert does say, or Mushroom Expert said Michael Quebec doesn't even have this species, possibly because it's a complex and they don't want to use an actual name. So Mushroom Expert says that the gills do turn gray. Now that's pretty dark gray. So you might wonder, like, well, how could I put a name on this when there seems to be reasons to doubt? I scoped a part of the gill, and that's coming up. And look at those big long bullet shaped things. Those are pleurocystidia, and there were a whole bunch of them. They were all over the gill mount, and that. So it must be some section or subgenus of Marasmius or something, because there's other large Marasmius mushrooms that have lots of hymenial cystidia, and this appears to be one of them, and that's the shape pretty much you're supposed to find in the pleurocystidia. So I'm pretty sure this is a correct idea as far as conforming to a current understanding of the name.
Neat.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty neat one.
Yeah. Interesting that the one stained and the other didn't.
Yeah, and they were growing like 2 or 3 feet away from one another in the same habitat. They looked the same, you know. When I first saw them, just from the tops of the caps, I thought it was an agaricus.
Mhm. Mhm.
What was the habitat? Maybe I missed that.
It was
Scale.
it was sort of deep forest litter, mainly coniferous litter. There were a lot of pines and hemlocks in the area. There were also tulip poplars and a few other hardwoods. It was kind of an interesting habitat in Mont Alto State
Cool.
Park in terms of the tree mix.
Yeah.
All right. I think that was that the last one, Dave?
I think so, yeah. That was 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's it. Well, thank you for hanging in there with me.
Mhm. Thanks for sharing. Thank you to everyone who shared. If anyone has anything else last minute. This is Peter. I thought Peter said he had yet another one growing inside his house. Peter, are you still there?
Yeah, he's here.
Yeah, I'm back
All right.
again. And I just wanted to show you folks what I was talking about. If you haven't seen it yet, this wild oyster mushroom, how it's so profuse
Yeah.
and abundant. And that's only one picture. I don't know what the other picture is and how we see it.
Yeah.
But
Do you know what kind of wood that's on?
looks like maple. It was
Yeah,
a
it does look
large
like
down
maple,
log,
yeah.
probably red maple, since that's probably a very common, popular tree. That's kind of too popular. Yeah,
Yeah.
red maple.
Wow. Do you think that naturally infected that log, or did somebody inoculate that?
Good question. Well, when I was in Albany 4 years ago, I saw this little piece of wood with this mushroom on it. I said, this has got to be inoculation by somebody because it's just set near the road. And it's only the stuff I saw. And they wanted to keep it moist and under the canopy. So I, I don't know. It's not really a place where people really run around and do mushroom stuff.
This
Mhm.
species has clearly escaped into the wild, and it's
Mhm.
growing wild.
Okay.
It's all over.
Okay,
I
good.
see
I
it
didn't know that.
usually on elmwood in the spring when
Yeah.
I'm looking for morels. I mean, I see it in places where nobody in their right mind would go through the trouble of like hauling an inoculated log
Yeah.
or you know, I mean, when you know what it's like to look for morels, right? Sometimes you have to plow through all sorts of understory to get to a
Sure.
spot. Yeah, and I find it in places like that, you know.
Mhm.
So it's clearly escaped into the wild. So Leucocoprinus Birnbaumii.
Yeah. So as we see in the photograph, and we see my pot.
Yeah. Classic.
Uh-huh.
That's where they like to grow.
It's a
Yeah.
classic. It's a classic, and it's for those people who haven't seen it before. That's what it does. It grows in a pot.
Anybody ever seen it outside of a potted plant?
I have
Yes,
not.
I saw in Disney. What's the one in Florida? Disneyland or Disney World? I took my daughter there when she was 13.
That
World.
would be World.
Disney World in an ornamental garden, like in Magic Kingdom or something.
Yeah, but that's still, similar,
Similar habitat.
similar
But
habitat.
but Florida is like a terrarium
You're right.
in the
Yeah,
summer.
yeah.
You know?
But no one's ever seen this thing, when they're out on a hike, right? It's all
I've never seen this out on a
potted
hike.
plants and,
Manicured.
structured plant beds and things like that.
I have not. I've only seen it in potted plants.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check. I thought I had, but it may have been a different species. I'll get back to you next week on
Was
that.
your Hunter, was yours white or yellow?
No, it was yellow.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. I wanted to share that with you
Yeah.
folks. because it's like,
Thanks, Peter.
wow. Besides
Both of
going
those.
between my, yeah, okay.
Cool stuff all night, Peter.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you,
Yeah.
folks.
Come again. It's good fun.
Fun. Thanks. Bye.
All right. All right. Does anybody else have anything? All right. Well, thanks, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks for joining, and
I shut this off.
Night, everyone.